Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. We're the Road to Glory podcast. I'm Juliet.
And I'm Cecilia. And in today's episode, we're finally back with a race review. We finally have some F1 Academy racing.
Oh, I know we made an episode on F1 Academy last week about our predictions and stuff, but I seriously still feel like it's been ages since we've had a race for F1 Academy. And I mean, we have ages after this as well. We still have 5 weeks after until we get to the next race. So that's what I will say. I hate the big gaps between F1 Academy, but we finally had it back this weekend in Zandvoort, and wow, it was something. Definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of swapping around in positions in the championship. And some of our predictions were right. So if you want to go check out that video again and see, some of us got some things right, some of us didn't.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I should be sitting with chef's hat on right now.
Yeah.
Because I was cooking with some of these predictions. Like, I feel so good about myself because I was on it for most of it. Like, of course, we can't have everything right.
No.
But I feel like we had some decent predictions. I'm sure we'll, when we get to the races, talk about them more. But yeah, if you didn't watch our predictions, that's because obviously there has been a bit of a summer break in feeder series, but we are always still here every week. So make sure to always keep up with our new content because you've been missing out if you haven't watched our previous videos and or episodes.
Exactly. So if we want to start diving into the weekend, we can start off with practice. Now, F1 Academy has 2 practice sessions, which is, I know, not usual for feeder series. F2, F3, we usually have 1. But F1 Academy has 2 practice sessions on the Friday, as well as having practiced at Zandvoort a couple weeks earlier. So really getting a lot of track time, which is very important for the rookies who may not have had as much track time, although some of them, I think British F4 goes to it as well. So the track is used a bit. But going back to practice, Friday was a little bit wet. The first practice, it was kind of slow for people to come out. Ella Lloyd came out. She was doing a couple laps, but it was quite dusty. And kind of the main championship contenders, the ones who were there last year, they kind of waited in the pits a bit and ended up going out. Later in the session, there was a red flag towards the end of the session, which actually made the session stop early because Joanne Chicante crashed into the barriers. And obviously, red flag, there was only 8 minutes left. And they ended the session there because they weren't going to get the car off the track. And in practice, when there's red flag, the clock still ticks down. But during that red flag, we actually got a red flag infringement for Nicole Havrida, which got her a 10-place grid drop for both races, which just really, really unfortunate for her. Bit of a, I wouldn't say rookie mistake, but these drivers should probably know to not. I think was it overtaking under red flag?
She was overtaking Diana, I believe, under the red flag, and that's what got her the penalty because obviously you're not allowed to overtake anyone under a red flag. So yeah, it's just like a mistake she probably didn't think about because it's not often you get in that situation anyway. But yeah, it's very unfortunate because High Tech has not had a good first season in this championship. They really haven't. And this is just not what Nicole needed to start off her weekend with, and it also didn't end up being better when we get into qualifying, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yeah, it was not her weekend. But just to wrap up that first practice, we kind of saw the top 4 or 5 were your usual suspects. You had Alicia P1, Maya P2, Chloe P3, and Dorian P4, which is like the championship fight. So you kind of knew it was going to be close between those drivers and pretty much everyone else. There was surprising, in qualifying when we get there was a lot of people going for pole.
Yeah.
But free practice 2 overall, rain, pretty much. So there was oh, the big thing is Nina Gademan was
Yeah.
deemed unfit to drive in free practice 2. Now, I was shocked when that came out because I know she's been dealing with
Yes.
an issue, but I really never expected her to not be able to drive in a session.
No, and I was panicked when I saw that graphic with like Nina unfit to race because I predicted her as like the good surprise, and I'm like, did I just curse her completely? Because we have been talking about previously that she has been carrying this injury from one of the previous in-season tests that she hasn't fully recovered from. So I was like, what has happened? Why isn't she able to race at her home race weekend
Yeah.
basically? So like that was very shocking to me as well, also because like I didn't see practice, so I didn't know if she had another crash or if it was just from that previous injury. So I was like, what is going on? I'm so sorry, Nina, if I cursed you.
When I saw that also, I was like, "Oh my gosh, is she not gonna be able to drive this weekend?"
Yeah,
And I was really worried. So
same.
she could not take part in free practice 2. But to be honest, no one really put in like that many laps. It landed up with Chloe going fastest, Maya, Dorian, Alicia, like those
Mm,
kind of people at the top again.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, lots of drivers were doing push laps, but then turn 1 pretty much, they were not making the corner and they were going straight and they had to take the escape route because the track was really wet. So I feel like if there was one session she could miss, it was that one
uh,
and it was fine. Um, yeah, I think we'll head into quali now, but
yeah,
it gets better for Nina if you didn't watch the
it
weekend.
does.
But if you watched, you know.
Yeah, because obviously, when we got to Saturday qualifying day, she suddenly was deemed fit to drive again, which I would really like to like be a fly on the wall with these conversations they were having, because like being told that you're not going to be able to race this weekend, the one day to the next day before qualifying, being like, oh, sure, you're good to go. Like, I'm so happy for her, but that must have been a roller coaster of emotions.
Definitely. I would love to know, like, what changed between the 2 days.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't get any information. We just get she's unfit to drive and then notified she's fit to drive. But I would love to get more information on behind the scenes and what exactly she was dealing with. But luckily, she was deemed fit to drive.
Yeah, and that was very important because she went on to have a great weekend, which we'll also get to in the races. But yeah, talking about qualifying, it was a wet start, so it was a tricky session because even though it wasn't raining, the track was still wet enough for them to start on the wet tires, which definitely didn't make things easier and did help shake things up a little.
Definitely. There were a lot of people up there at the top where I was like,
Mm.
oh, okay, interesting.
Mm.
It started out really strong for Leah. I felt like
Yes.
as she was my prediction for
Yeah.
my like surprise of the weekend, which I still think I get a pat in the back for that. 'Cause she had a good
Yeah.
weekend
She did.
overall, a better
Yeah.
weekend. Not perfect, but nothing's ever perfect in motorsports. Um, but yeah, like Leah was in the beginning when they're on the wet tires, she was kind of up there the whole time. Um,
Mm.
but then obviously the track starts drying. There's a dry line that's really formed, so people start gambling for slicks. And then honestly, it was like I was like, I cannot
Yeah.
predict who's going to be on pole because people were
No.
going to pole like every second. It was a new person.
Yeah, it was so unpredictable. And it's obviously what is great about F1 Academy this season is that all the drivers are so talented. You really can't say for certain like who is gonna get pole. So it was really changing with every person setting in the lap. Also, obviously with the track drying up, the track also did evolve. So it was very much about like being one of the final people to cross the line. You will probably have a good shot at setting the best lap. But in the end, we still got our usual suspect, which was my prediction. Pat on the back. Maya Berg taking pole position on her home track, which was awesome to see for her. Her fighting back in the championship after a couple of disappointing rounds for various reasons.
Yes. One person who really, I mean, she had a good quali, but there was a bit of a timing issue for some drivers that
Yes.
they went out a little bit later and then they just couldn't get that final lap in. And unfortunately for Chloe Chambers, who was in the championship fight,
Mm.
she had that happen to her. And her last lap she couldn't do. So she got one lap less than her rivals, which did her a bit of a disservice. I mean, she still qualified P4, which is really good.
Mm.
Um, but I still think she could have gotten pole if she had done that last lap.
Yeah, it's always super tricky getting the timing right in conditions like this. Also, like, another prediction I had was obviously I was conflicted between saying Nina for reverse grid pole and Alba, and I ended up saying Alba because I followed my heart. I still need that first pole position for her, but we still got time, still got 2 race weekends to go. But yeah, when she crossed the line with her like final lap, like when she got the checkered flag, I believe she was actually like the first person to get the checkered flag, and like at the time she was 8, and I was like, okay, I'm absolutely
You're
cooking with
cooking.
this. Yeah, I was like, I'm believing. But obviously, as we are talking about the track evolving, because she was the first person to get the checkered flag, that meant she just dropped back down when other people behind her also set in their time. So she did end up in P14, which definitely was a bad qualifying to her like normal standard, I would say. But it was really a tricky session. And like how we still got Maya then taking pole, who's like one of the championship contenders, is honestly pretty surprising because it felt like it could have been anyone.
No, literally. And I mean, we even had a wild card driver,
Yes.
Esme, in P9, which is like so insanely good.
Mm.
Um, and we'll get to her a little bit later in race 2, but we'll mention her again because she did something very incredible. But I definitely think you should keep an eye on her because I have a funny
Yeah.
feeling she'll be on the grid next year.
Yeah, I 100% agree because for those who haven't followed F1 Academy in the previous years, we have seen that the wildcard drivers that perform well when they get the chance usually tend to get a full-time seat somewhere on the grid the following year. So like I definitely think it will be likely to see her again because she has on paper been the best performing wildcard driver we've had this season so far, which is amazing to see. Also, because we had some questions here on the podcast before about the wildcard entry this year in general, specifically because the car is operated by High Tech, and we have seen them struggling a lot. So, like seeing her being able to perform as well as she did, and actually outperform the other High Tech drivers, which we also have to talk about because
Yeah.
we had a big mishap between the other 2 High Tech drivers in qualifying, which we actually terrible. Like just high tech's luck this year and like their performances. We just start qualifying off with Nicole Havara running into Ava Agnostias in the beginning of qualifying, taking out Ava completely, and then getting herself another 3 place grid drop for both races. So now she's up on 13th place grid drop.
13.
Yeah.
This is a
Really
weekend.
not a good weekend.
Yeah, it's a weekend for her to forget for
Yes.
sure. Like, I hope she comes back in Singapore and just
Mm.
completely, I mean, take stuff
Yeah.
away from the weekend. Don't crash into your teammate. Um,
No, please don't. Because this is not the first time either this has happened, unfortunately. Like, I don't know what's going on with it, but it's not what you want to see between teammates.
definitely not, especially high tech who have
Yeah.
really been struggling this year.
Mm.
And then they just one of their drivers is out of qualifying because of the other driver, and then the other driver gets the more grid jobs. So it's just like
Yeah.
wasn't the best weekend for high tech overall.
Nope.
But their wild card Esme saved them.
Yeah, she saved the weekend, honestly. She had a great time. So that is something.
Definitely.
But I feel like those are the main points from qualifying, pretty much. No,
Yeah.
actually, we did have another person who didn't get to settle up because she ended up in the gravel, which was Aurelia Nobel's.
Yes.
Uh,
We should have put Aurelia as our not
yeah,
disappointment, but just Aurelia did not have a
unlucky driver.
great yeah,
If we bring
honestly,
back the Lago meter, it will always be Aurelia Nobel's on the unlucky side
this
because
season.
she
Because
can't catch a break.
last year she was really promising. Like she's still promising, but the
Hmm.
luck factor is really not helping her this year. And
No.
obviously, it's her second season. So she's trying to show what she can do. But oh my gosh, it's just she's really at the bottom of our luck meter. Can we, F1
Yeah.
Academy, can we come and sage that Puma car? Because it really
Yeah.
needs it.
It really needs a good saging because she only has 2 race weekends left of her F1 Academy career, basically, because you can only race 2 seasons. And yeah, it just hasn't really come together for her, really. And like, I would love to see her actually have a good weekend before she has to move on to another series, because like, she is a good driver. Like, you don't become a part of the Ferrari driver academy without being a really good driver. So like, we just haven't seen like a good perfect weekend from her yet.
No, we have not. So I really hope that Singapore and Las Vegas really are lucky for her and she's on the other side
Yeah.
of our luck meter for once.
Yeah, fingers crossed for sure, because we have to see it before she moves on to another series. Like, we
Yeah,
have to.
we do.
Yeah, but I guess we can move on to race 1. We finally got a Leah Block podium, which I was like rooting for her to keep that position for like
I
the
know.
entire race. Yeah, like, just please, like, also because Leah, this is her second and final year as well, and she also hasn't been on the podium yet. So like, knowing that the races are ticking down pretty much, like, this could be it for her. And luckily she managed to keep her position.
Yeah.
So finally
Yeah.
got that podium.
She had a great start, as well as
Yes,
Nina
she did.
did.
Mm.
Who had a bad start, who had a bad weekend, who is also with Aurelia on our bad side of the luck meter, is
Yeah.
Chloe Chambers. Honestly, she had a bit of a bad start, and then she was fighting with Dorian, and around like just after the first corner, Dorian kind of like pushed her off track. Um,
Yeah. She didn't
and
leave a lot of space,
no,
let's put it that way.
no, and I feel like these two drivers have a little bit of beef.
They have
Just in
beef.
the rumoring of the world, like in the
Yeah.
F1 Academy rumor hall, I feel like they have
Mm.
beef. And it always
Yeah.
lands up being them. Like someone's pushing
Yeah.
someone off track. But
Yeah.
unfortunately for Chloe, she got a puncture because of it. And that really, it did not help her race and her fight in the championship. Also, which wasn't great in race 1, is we had Esme, our wildcard driver, starting from pit lane. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, she gets her redemption, but when you start from pit lane, I mean, there's always opportunities to make up places, but it's a bit disheartening, if that's the right word, when you're a
Yeah.
wild card driver and you have these 2 races to show what you're capable of.
Exactly, because she would have started in a decent position, obviously qualifying ninth.
Yeah,
So it must have definitely been a punch to the gut, being like told over the radio, "Oh, you have to come to the pit lane." But obviously, it was, I believe, because her tire pressure wasn't the right pressure that it had to be. Obviously, there are
yeah,
rules for like what it should be. So if she had started the race, she would have gotten a penalty anyway, or been disqualified even. I believe
yeah.
probably disqualified actually. So obviously it's better to take her in, fix the issue, and then let her race, instead of like her potentially having a great race and then being like, oh yeah, by the way, you're disqualified because we messed up the tire pressure.
Exactly. And we know in F1 Academy there's going to be a safety car brought out. So
Yeah.
even if you start from pit lane, the field will most likely be bunched up and then you'll be able to overtake people and show your pace. Which we
Yeah.
did have. We had a safety car for Tina. Oh, it was so
Yeah.
unfortunate. It was all on her own really that she lost the car and went into the barriers. Just really, it was not a great race for Tina. Um,
No.
Especially again, second season. The races are
Mm.
counting down, and
Yeah.
she's not been completely on top of it this season, I feel like.
No. Obviously with Tina, we have also discussed her before, because I don't feel like I've seen a lot in general from her, and it is kind of disappointing. I also like seeing her now in her second season with Prema. You would expect that she would be able to make more progress, get better race results than she has so far. So when she finally is in a good position, obviously starting on the front row, it's not good that
No.
she ended her race with a mistake. Obviously, everyone can make mistakes, but it's well, you would like them to happen when you're not fighting for a podium.
Yeah. You know what I will mention is in my predictions, I'm going to take this as another win, but I'll
Yes.
explain it. In my
Mm.
predictions, I said for the race one, for the sprint, that Maya would win. Okay, Maya
Mm.
does not win.
No.
But I said she would fight her way through the grid, which she did, because she honestly overtook a lot of people, and was fighting with Dorian and with Ella to get past them. So I'm going to take that as a win for myself. She couldn't end up getting past Leah, which honestly I was quite happy for, because I was happy for the
Yeah.
P2 for Leah. I was really rooting for that.
Mm.
So I just thought I should mention that.
Yeah, because honestly, Maya is back to like the Maya that we had when she was leading the championship early in the year, where she couldn't be kept off the podium. Like it's just physically impossible. Even though she literally started at 8 because she had obviously taken pole position in qualifying, dropped down to 8 because of the reverse grid. She still makes it onto the podium, and it's like really impressive driving for her. Definitely trying to recover some of the points that were lost when she had technical
Yeah.
difficulties with her car, technical mistakes on the car back in Canada, I believe. Or what? Yeah, I think so. It was. Or was it Miami? Actually, I feel like she had had a couple of difficult
No, I
weekends.
think it was
So
Canada. It was last
yeah,
race weekend.
yeah, right. So it's definitely good to see her fighting back. Also to keep the title fight close because obviously we don't have a lot of races left, but it is
Right.
come down to 20 points between Doyen and Maya in the championship, which unfortunately we will get to Chloe not being as close in the championship anymore with
Yes.
this off weekend.
Yeah,
Definitely hasn't been her weekend, but you never know what can happen.
exactly. And you know what we haven't mentioned from race one, which was honestly probably one of the highlights from the race, as well as Leah's
Yeah,
podium, is
yeah,
who we got winning the race. Is we got
yes.
Nina Gaidman winning
Finally.
on her birthday at
Yes.
her home race, which is
Yeah.
just, oh, it was incredible. She was crying on the
Mm.
podium. I was crying.
Yes.
Not a dry tear in the
Yeah.
house. It was so emotional and so wonderful of us, the story of her literally not
Mm.
being fit to drive the day before and then winning on her birthday at her home race. It was
Yeah.
just perfection.
It was literally written in the stars that this had to happen the way it did, because what you couldn't have written it yourself that she will be deemed unfit to drive one day and then the next literally win on her birthday on her home track. And also, I will take credit for this win in my predictions, not because I didn't predict her as the win, but I did say as like good surprise it would be her, and then I mentioned we might finally get that first win for her because she has been robbed of it twice, pretty much. Like she has been so close to it multiple times this season, and it also is her first season. So it's amazing to see her finally get that win in like such a beautiful way as two, like just leading the way the whole race through.
Yes, she was dominant. She was ahead.
Mm.
Pretty much like Leah pulled ahead but then got back, but Nina
Yeah,
was out at front the entire
yeah,
race. It was her race to win, and she won
yeah.
it in a very dominant style.
She really did. And we always love to see Prema doing well,
We
obviously.
do.
We are very biased towards Prema because
we
I'm sorry, they are the best team. I'm sorry,
we
but they
love
are.
you, Prema.
Yes. And also they are leading the championship in like the team's championship part of it again. So like will we just get Prema winning every year? Maybe we actually just will. Like every single
I
year in
mean,
F1 Academy.
as long as I'm happy with Prema dominating F1 Academy because we don't talk about the
Yes.
other championships. Like we're really not there at the moment. So at least we
No.
have this. So can we keep this going, please?
Yeah, can we like also just not change the F1 Academy car? Because like
Yeah,
the moment we
that's
bring
the
in a new
issue.
car, yeah, that's when Prima will have the downfall, as we've seen in F3 and F2 recently. So yeah, we are enjoying the Prima dominance in F1 Academy because we're not having it anywhere else. As like I have to mention, like obviously we talked about just mentioned F3. Like they used to be so dominating in that series. Like I just saw F3 posting something about what teams have won the years F3 have been FIA, F Formula 3, and it's literally only 1 year they didn't win. Like,
It's
how
crazy.
does that happen? It's really insane.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they really just have had such an off year this year. Um,
Yeah.
but we get F3, F2 back this coming weekend in Monza. So make sure to
Yes.
stay tuned for that. Um, but
Yeah.
back to F1 Academy, I think
Yeah.
to round off race one, we can mention a couple of other people who were like in the points. Um,
Yes.
Alicia was P7, which was good from her.
Mm.
Chloe P5, a good recovery drive, and Dorian P6. So maybe both our predictions were Dorian that was not gonna have a great weekend. Didn't really go
Yeah.
like that, but I felt like in race two it wasn't her best. It was
No,
okay.
yeah, I feel like our prediction with Doyan having kind of an off weekend is kind of right. Like when she is the championship leader, you might expect more from her because she
Yeah,
definitely didn't have a perfect weekend. Also, like we'll get to race two, but she pretty much only managed to get that podium because she was fortunate and with a time penalty for another driver ahead of her. So it wasn't her best.
yeah,
It will be interesting to see if she's back to dominating more in Singapore, but we'll wait and see. As like I feel like I cursed Alpha by saying we might soon get her first win because
yeah,
she had a bad race one, and it was really odd as well because she had like a good start of the race. Obviously, she started 14 and she made up a lot of positions. But then when we got to the end of the race, she got a penalty for causing a collision, which is weird that it was only when the stewards or whatever noticed that she had damage on her car and she had to pit, like she got the black and orange flag. Like that damage was from the beginning of the race with Chloe Chong where she got a puncture. And I'm like, how did it take you so long to figure out there was a collision between those two drivers? I
no,
don't
literally.
understand it. Like they had to see the damage on her car by the end of the race to be like, oh, what happened here?
Yeah,
Like then give her the penalty.
yeah, they took a while. They were obviously not
Yeah.
paying attention.
No, I also don't think we saw it on the live coverage as
No.
well. So very confusing. But like definitely an off race for Alba because the commentators also mentioned that she has scored points in pretty much every race besides like a couple of off races.
Yeah, I also agreed. I also wanted to
Yeah.
mention that we actually got ART's first podium in F1.
Yes.
I don't know if in F1 this year, with Leah, which was really interesting. I kind of when I watch F1 Academy, I kind of forget about the teams behind them because I
Yes.
just see the liveries and the like F1 teams that they're connected to, and I'm like, oh right, there are teams that are running these cars
Mm.
actually. Because
Yeah.
obviously we don't get any of their like branding or anything like that, so it tends to slip my mind. But that's really amazing that we got ART's first podium this year.
Yeah, that's also an issue we have touched upon early in the season that you tend to forget what these feeder series teams in F1 Academy actually like are because they're so anonymous when you see the drivers and the cars. So we have done like a previous episode where we talked about the MP drivers to like make it clear like who are MP in F1 Academy. We could bring that back for other teams as well because like the teams are super important in F1 Academy, and it's kind of a shame that they're kind of washed out. Like, you don't really
Yeah,
notice them because of
the
all the
focus
F1 and other sponsors branding.
exactly. The focus is not on the actual teams who are putting in the work. Um,
No.
so yeah, let us know if you want us to bring that back and maybe you'll see it back. I think it also helped me personally to get to know these
Mm.
drivers because there are quite a lot of them, and sometimes you don't know a lot about them because they may be from countries that you don't watch motorsports in. Um,
Mm.
but I think we can move on to race 2 now.
Yes, definitely. Which was also like, we have to talk about the start of the race, which like actually before the start of the race, when we have to start the formation lap, and it's pure heartbreak for Chloe Chambers and her dream of the championship.
Oh, I mean, it was absolutely awful because
Mm,
you see all of these like mechanics leaving the grid because obviously they have to, and her mechanics are still there. And then the commentator's like,
yeah.
what's happening there?
Mm,
And then they leave and you think, oh, she's fine. But no, she had a
yeah.
mechanical issue and she was stopped on the grid and she couldn't go. And she had to be wheeled back to the pit lane, I think.
Yeah, she was. She was wheeled back into the pit lane. They tried to see if they could like restart the car there so she could have a pit lane start, but like they couldn't even do that. The car was just not having it. Like it was just like, I'm done now. I can't do any more racing, which is so unfortunate because obviously the race ended with her two main rivals both being on the podium. So it's really hurtful for her leaving with 0 points from that race.
Yeah, it's really not the weekend that she wanted overall.
No.
But as she mentioned in like a post that she posted, she'll be back and she'll keep fighting
Yes.
for it. And I definitely think this year she's showing her potential.
Uh,
So I'm excited to see where she continues to go in her motorsports journey.
Yeah, I agree because obviously she's also in her second season. So that fight between Maya, Doyen, and Chloe is very obvious. Like those three drivers, this is their final shot at the title. And honestly, they feel very even, all of them.
They do.
And yeah, even though there is a points gap now, it's like not impossible. And like it will most like well it will go down to Las Vegas, I'm sure. Like
Yeah.
I am confident that none of them can like obviously I don't think Doyen can seal it in like win the championship in Singapore. Like
No,
there's
and
no
not
way.
unless they both DNF or something,
Yeah,
which
exactly. Like
I
then it will
really
be
hope that doesn't.
unlikely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it will be unlikely she wouldn't win, but we'll have to wait and see. It will be
Yes.
interesting final two race weekends for sure.
Yeah. Maya had a really great start, which
Mm.
was good for her race. Um, which we land up seeing her P1, which was really incredible. Your prediction, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it was. I've like that's why I'm saying like I should just have recorded this whole episode with like a chef's hat on, like because I've been cooking so good, so good.
You could
Honestly,
see into the future.
obviously I could like there was something just telling me this is gonna happen, and it did. I'm sure all the Dutch fans with like Anina win in race one, Maya win in race two, like people were euphoric. I'm sure, and like it was great to see.
You know what was incredible is we saw the Maya win with such dominance. A 6 second
Yes,
gap ahead of the rest of the field. And now, if we're
exactly.
speaking in F1 terms, maybe that's not that big. Well, it kind of is. But like
Yeah,
with last
it's
year,
a
I
good
think like
gap.
Lando won with huge dominance last year at
Yeah.
Zandvoort. Um,
Mm,
but we got Maya with a 6 second gap, and in F1 Academy, that is a big gap to the rest of the
mm,
field behind you. When everyone else is fighting really close and you're six
yeah.
seconds out ahead. I think it was such a good weekend for Maya to prove to herself as well as everyone else that like I am
Mm,
here to fight. Do not discount because I had a bad weekend because of the car. Like that was
no.
nothing to do with me.
No. And honestly, it's a good momentum for her to have going into the final races because she has been more on it this weekend than Doyan has. And like, obviously, that can change in Singapore. We don't know yet. Anything can happen. But it was a very strong showing for her because, as you say, it was a big gap to have down to second place. Because, like, obviously, F1 Academy races aren't that long. So you don't have as much time to spread out that gap. And like it was just a great race from her, and it also did help that they were fighting behind her, so they were definitely losing time amongst themselves. But obviously we have already mentioned that Diane also made it up to the podium, which was because of a very unfortunate moving before the lights went out for Ella Lloyd, unfortunately, which
When
dropped her
they
down.
Yeah, when they showed her on board and,
Yeah.
like, I saw her move and I was like, "I'm not gonna say anything. Not that
No.
anyone can hear me. I'm
But we
sitting in
saw.
silence."
Yeah.
And then the commentators were like, "Oh, looks like she moved." And
Yeah.
unfortunately, once you get noted for, like, moving before the start,
Mm.
there are sensors and they say you moved or you didn't. So it was pretty much guaranteed that she was going to get a 5-second penalty for the false start,
Mm.
which was unfortunate for her because she
Yeah.
did have a great drive and a great weekend overall.
Mm.
And I feel like she did deserve the podium, but
Yeah.
it was unfortunate for her. You know who else was unfortunate on the start?
Oh no.
Oh,
It's
Leah
really like
Block.
a hero to zero moment. Like we often get that in motorsport. And Leah, it was race 1, she was a hero getting on the podium. Race 2, back to zero when she went into the wrong grid box because obviously Chloe Chambers wasn't there, so she
Yeah,
went too far ahead and had to
exactly.
reverse back into her grid box
It
and
was
still
quick.
moving when the lights came on.
Exactly. She would quickly reverse back into her grid spot,
Yeah.
but she was in her grid spot still moving when the lights started
Mm.
going off, which actually did make her have a bit of a bad start because I feel like her reactions weren't as quick.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
and unfortunately for her, she got a 10-second time penalty because she was out of position at the start of the
Oh.
race. When the start procedure had started, she was not in the correct grid box. So
No.
if we can forget that, Leah had a good weekend, but it was a mixed
Yeah.
weekend overall for her.
It really was. And whenever a driver gets noted and gets put under investigation for stuff like that, it's always a slam dunk penalty. Like
Yeah,
it's very unlikely that it will be deemed you didn't move because I'm sorry, we could all see
everyone could.
that. So not a lot to do about that, unfortunately.
Yes. And if we want to mention, I know we've mentioned it throughout the episode, but we can
Mm.
talk about Esme, our wildcard
Yes.
driver, getting P7 in the race. She had a great race, started
Mm.
from where she was always meant to start the last race. I mean, imagine what she could have done if she'd started the race from her actual
Yeah.
position in race 1. But we got points for a wildcard driver
Mm.
for the first time this year, which is really, really exciting.
It was a really great showing for her, and I'm sure she will be happy with it and hopefully be securing a deal for a full-time seat next year. We'll have to wait and see. We'll also keep everyone updated on whenever we get any news on seats for next year because nothing has been announced yet. Not even the calendar has officially been announced. Like there's been a couple of races that have been announced, but not the full calendar, and then there's rumors about other tracks. I think we will get a shaken up calendar next year, and I can't wait to see it. But yeah, it was great to see Esme in the points. It's also insane seeing her now in the championship being higher up than some of the full-time drivers. It's very sad and very upsetting. As like the commentators talking about, Courtney Crone could get her first points this weekend, and she didn't. So unfortunately, she's the only full-time driver left with yet to score points this season.
Yeah, unfortunate for her. But if
Mm.
we go back to the other side of the podium, that's the word I'm looking for. We
Yes.
had Maya P1, which we
Mm.
mentioned, Alicia P2, which
Yes.
is incredible. I
Mm.
think she's had such a rookie season. It's been so good. And then obviously we
Yeah.
mentioned with Dorian taking P3 over Ella Lloyd because of Ella's penalty. Um,
Mm.
so good for Dorian and Maya in their championship fights. Good for Alicia in her rookie championship fight in her own. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? Actually, where is Alicia? Because Alicia was like not in the championship fight, but she was like right behind them.
Yeah, she's like she had that off time in Canada, so I'm pretty sure that hurt her championship. But she is, oh yeah, she has been as of the rookies, it's now Ella Lloyd that's
Yeah.
the leading rookie. If you like, obviously we don't have a rookie championship, which
No,
maybe we should have, honestly, because they do have another lower feeder series. Maybe look into
exactly.
that F1 Academy. But yeah, I agree. Alicia Pomorski has had an incredible rookie season. Like, she doesn't feel like a rookie. That's something we've
No.
mentioned multiple times. And also, she was like a wild shout for me for actually winning the championship this year, which now obviously she's a bit too far back, so it won't happen. But at
Yeah.
times, it looked likely because she has had the pace. Like, she's always up there in qualifying. She always misses out on pole position by such small margins.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, like, when we go into next year, she will be one of the favorites to win the title.
Definitely. She's had such her and Ella Lloyd next year could be a very interesting fight. I'm sure we'll get
Yes.
maybe even Elba in that. Like that's the kind of
Yeah,
vibes I'm getting at the moment for fighting
that's
for the
my prediction
championship.
as well. Yeah, like they will be Chloe, Doyen, Maya this year. That will
Yeah,
be Alicia, Ella, and Alba next year. I
maybe
feel
even
so
Nina in
confident.
there as well. So like,
True. Yeah.
but we'll have to wait and see, obviously, what happens
Mm,
next year. But it was a
yeah.
good weekend for Alicia.
Yes, and also obviously now we mentioned Alba. With her starting 14th, she finally like had a good redemption in race 2 because she pulled off some great moves and moved up into the points again. So only one race without points for her.
Yeah,
We love to see it.
back on track.
Yes, obviously if she can just qualify better because this super odd from Alba this season because she started off the season being super great in qualifying, like really obviously her first ever qualifying session being P3, which no one expected of her at all. But in the start of the season, she didn't have the same racecraft as she has now, so she has dropped back from the races she qualified good at. And now in this part of the season, she has
It's a
started
flip.
falling off on her qualifying, and now she has the race pace and racecraft to actually move ahead from where she starts. So if you can just get one good qualifying from her, it will be
Yeah.
so interesting to see her fighting from the front and see what can happen then.
I think we've kind of covered the F1 Academy weekend. Um,
Yes.
and I think we can move on to a little section here, which we call Feeder Series News,
Yes.
which is always important to do.
Mm.
We did pre-record a couple episodes, so I'm not sure if we didn't mention this. Why am I saying I'm not sure? We didn't
No.
mention this, but
No.
I feel like it's relevant to the podcast. But we actually had Abby Pulling's first GB3 podium, which was actually
Yes.
incredible.
Mm.
We actually met Abby and spoke to her
Yes, we
um
did. We were
at
her good luck
Formula
charm, like giving
yeah.
her some extra luck for the coming races.
We spoke to her at Formula E. And she mentioned how she's had a couple of issues with the car, but she seems to have put everything together and we got a podium for her, which is just so
Yes.
incredible, especially in her rookie year in GB3. GB3 is
Mm.
a hard category and it's really good that she's
Mm.
showing her performance in that. So congratulations, Abby. So good.
Yes, it was amazing to see her finally get on the podium because she has had honestly, obviously, as you mentioned, she did have some off weekends because they found some kind of issue with the car. But other than that, she has been performing great compared to the fact that this is her first season in a competitive series like GP3. So it's incredible to see. So congratulations, Abby.
Yes. And the feeder series news does not stop there. And
No.
if you would like to take a look at my top, you can see what I'm going to be mentioning next. Because this team,
Yes.
AIX, loves to announce what they're going to do really far in advance. Because we
Yeah.
got an announcement that for 2026 and Monza, we are going to be getting Fernando Barrichello, who is, I think it's
Yes.
Rubens Barrichello's son.
Yeah,
Um,
I believe so.
so we will be getting him at Monza, another driver in AIX.
Another driver at AIX. It never stops. Like, this was their final chance to put in a new driver, and they were like, actually, you know what? we'll take it. We'll put in another driver. Actually, I have been on vacation when this news dropped, so I'm actually not fully in the loop. Like, who is he
Who's he
replacing at
replacing? I
AIX?
don't know.
Like,
I'm
have they
trying.
said that? Like, excuse me, AIX. Like, can we
I'm
just have
having
a
a little
calm
read here
moment?
because
Yeah.
because it just did they say? Because
Yeah, because I don't
if it's
feel like
James
they
Hedley,
said
I'm
it.
fighting. I'm fighting if it's
Yeah, then
James
we're
Hedley.
actually going to Monza just to say, what on earth are you doing here?
Stepping in, but for
uh,
whom?
I'm
Wait,
checking like
maybe
the team thing if it's
yeah, exactly. No,
Jules. It is literally James Hedley that has been removed from the list at AIX. What do you mean? You've just removed James in the final race. Taking off the AIX hoodie,
this is
throw it out the
protest.
window.
This is protest.
Oh no, finding out live on this episode that James has been replaced for the final race. Actually, I can't believe it.
That's really
So
sad. You
it
know what?
actually is. And that's what I hate about these changes. It's like they just, oh yeah, we're putting in this driver in our seat now for the final race, and then they're just like putting it under the rug that they are replacing James. Like, just we don't even care to mention it. Like, what on
And
earth?
like, so
Honestly,
you're just not gonna let him finish the champion? I mean, he didn't do a full
no.
championship, so fine. I really hope
Yeah,
James can go to a different team next year and get a full-time
yeah,
seat because he kind of he took over for someone else. And I mean, AIX
yeah.
F3 is cursed. Like, you are not
It
guaranteed to be
is.
there.
No, so
I
it's all
just
well and good that AIX have announced their drivers for next year already. But like, if you're one of those drivers, you're really not secure in that seat. I'm sorry,
no.
you'll likely be replaced at some point if AIX choose to have a season like they did this year.
I don't understand why. Like, James was not doing
No,
that bad. Like, what? I mean, I understand they want to get him into the car. They want to get
yeah,
Fernando, I think his name is, into the car
mm,
and get him time in the car.
mm.
After
It's just
James.
sad, obviously, James having his final race without us even knowing it was his final
Yeah,
race. Like, one race to go and you replace your driver. So, like, obviously, we're happy for Fernando, but very sad to see James go before
very
we
bittersweet.
deserved it. Yeah,
And
it
on
really
that
is. I also
note,
like, yeah, what do you want to say?
no, you carry on.
No, the only thing I had to say was a very random side note is the fact that he does not look like someone who hasn't even turned 20 yet, Fernando.
I
Like,
know. I thought he was
I
a
had to
middle-aged
Google his
man.
age. Yeah, because I was like, I'm sorry, how old are you driving an F3? He
He
is
has,
turning 20 soon, but like, still.
he has such a big beard as well. That's what I think is what
Yes.
ages him. Um,
Hmm.
but on that really depressing note from outside,
Yeah. Yes.
I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover today. Our news,
Yeah.
our wrap up, our weekend overview of F1 Academy at Zandvoort. As I mentioned earlier, 5 weeks to go for Singapore, but next
Yep.
weekend we have Monza, we have F3, F2, so we'll be back covering that. Yeah, don't go anywhere. Follow our socials. Make sure to check back every week and check us out on Spotify if you're watching on YouTube.
Yes. If you want to find us, you can go down into the description. There'll be links for everything. You don't want to miss out on a single thing because we do make exclusive things for certain platforms. And we also have some exciting content coming up later in this month, possibly, that we can't talk about yet. But definitely stay tuned.
Exactly. Come back every week. We'll always be here. But that's it from us today. Bye bye.
Bye.